Welcome back to the Jazz Pursuit. In this video, we're going to look at the brilliant standard It Could Happen to You, written in 1943 by Jimmy Van Heusen. It Could Happen to You is heard at jam sessions across the world, and there are notable recordings by Chet Baker, Miles Davis, Nat King Cole, Ahmed Jamal and many more. In this video, we're going to break down and analyse the structure, harmony and melody, hopefully making it easier to learn and remember. If you haven't already, do like and subscribe below, and check out our website and Patreon page for PDF handouts that accompany all our videos, plus other extras. Now, let's get started. So, first off, let's look at the key bits of information. It Could Happen to You is typically a medium swinger in 4/4 time and in the key of E flat major. The form is 32 bars, divided into an A, B, A, C structure, where each section lasts 8 bars. First, we have the A section, and then we have the B section. We then repeat the A section before ending with the C section. Cool! So that's the key bits of information. Now let's dive in and take a look at the harmony in the A section. The A section begins on chord 1. As It Could Happen to You is in the key of E flat major, this is E flat major 7, and we stay here for 2 bars. Next, we move up to chord 2, F minor 7, where we also stay for 2 bars, before falling back down to chord 1, E flat major 7. Next, we have a common harmonic progression used throughout jazz standards, a 1-4-3-6 progression, where each chord lasts for 1 bar. We're currently on chord 1, E flat major 7, and next we move to chord 4, A flat major 7. Next is chord 3, G minor 7, which leads us to chord 6, C minor 7. Great! So that's the foundations of the harmony in the A section. And next we're going to look at some tweaks, but first let's hear the foundations on the piano. Super! So now for some tweaks, and first off is bar 5. Currently, we have chord 1 E flat major 7 and the start of our 1-4-3-6 progression, but we're going to tweak the bass note of this chord to its third G, making our chord E flat major 7 over G. If we now look at the bass notes in the first 5 bars, they rise through the major scale. We start on the root E flat and then move to the second F and then to the third G. Crucially, each of these notes are a tone apart, and for tweak number 2, we're going to add a couple of passing diminished chords to give the harmony momentum. A passing diminished chord is exactly what it says on the tin, a diminished chord that's used in passing to the next chord. So we start on chord 1 E flat major 7, and we're going to chord 2 F minor 7. So the passing diminished chord that joins these chords together is E diminished. Next, we're on chord 2 F minor 7, and the next chord is E flat major over G. So the passing diminished chord that joins these chords together is F sharp diminished. Brilliant! So that's the A section harmony tweaks done. Now let's hear it on the piano. Great! We're going to come back to the A section harmony later, but for now, let's move on and have a look at the A section melody. The A section melody is made up of 3 phrases, and we're going to start by talking about them in E flat major terms, rather than chord specific. The first phrase starts on the 5th, B flat, then rises to the 6th C, then up to the flat 7 D flat, before falling back to the 6th C, ending by jumping up to the 3rd G. The second phrase then starts on the 6th C, before rising up the scale to the 7th D and then up to the root E flat, before falling back down to the 7th D, ending by jumping up to the sharp 11 A. So far, the first two phrases have both lasted 2 bars each. Now to counter this, the third phrase lasts for 4 bars. The third phrase starts on the 5th B flat, then falls to the 4th A flat, before falling to the root E flat, ending the phrase by jumping up to the 3rd G. Great! So now we've looked at the melody in relation to the key, it's now time to see how it hangs on the chords. The first phrase starts on the 5th of the 1 chord, B flat, and then walks up to the 7th of the E diminished chord, D flat, before jumping up to the 3rd of the E diminished chord, G. The second phrase then copies this. We start on the 5th of the 2 chord, C, and then walk up to the 7th of the F sharp diminished chord, E flat, before jumping up to the 3rd of the F sharp diminished chord, A. So the relationship of the melody to the harmony of the first 2 phrases is identical, and we outline the 7th and 3rd of both passing diminished chords. The third phrase is different and starts on the 5th of the E flat major over G chord, B flat, before falling to the root of the A flat major 7 chord, A flat, and then the root of the G minor 7 chord, G. Brilliant! So now let's hear the A section harmony and melody on the piano. Great! So that's the A section done. And now let's dive in and take a look at the harmony in the B section. The B section harmony starts with a 2-5-1 cadence, back to chord 1, E flat major 7. This means the 2 chord is F minor 7, the 5 chord is B flat 7, and the 1 chord is E flat major 7. Our next target point is chord 6, the relative minor, which is C minor 7. And we get there through a quick minor 2-5-1. As C minor 7 is the 1 and target point of our 2-5-1, this means the 2 chord is D half diminished and the 5 chord is G7 flat 9, taking us to the 1 chord C minor 7. The next 4 bars make up another common harmonic chunk that's used frequently throughout jazz standards. The C minor 7 chord we're currently on becomes the 2 in a 2-5-1. Given C minor 7 is the 2 chord, this means F7 is the 5 chord, but we don't resolve to chord 1. Instead, our 5 chord F7 turns minor and becomes the 2 chord in another 2-5-1. F minor 7 is the 2 chord, B flat 7 is the 5 chord, and we resolve to chord 1, E flat major 7 in the first bar of the second A section. Brilliant! So here's how the B section harmony sounds on the piano. Cool! And now let's take a look at the melody in the B section, which is made up of 2 4-bar phrases. Again, let's start by thinking about it in terms of our home key, E flat major. So we start on the 3rd G, and then walk up to the 4th A flat. Next, we drop down to the root E flat, and then walk up through the major scale to the 3rd G. The next phrase then copies this, but rather than being based around the 3rd G, it's instead based around the root E flat. So we start on the root E flat, and then walk up to the 2nd F. Next, we drop down to the 6th C, before walking up through the major scale to the root E flat. So far, we can see that the second phrase is just a sequence of the first phrase from the B section. However, there is a short tag on the end of the second phrase that leads us back to the second A section. We start by rising up to the root of the F minor 7 chord, before we have a scale note approach from below to the 3rd of the B flat 7 chord, D. So that's the melody of the B section in E flat major terms. Now let's see how it hangs on the harmony. We start on the ninth of our F minor 7 chord G, before outlining the flat 7 of our B flat 7 chord A flat, ending the first phrase by walking through the E flat major scale until we land on the third of our E flat major 7 chord G. The second phrase then starts on the third of our C minor 7 chord E flat, before outlining the root and fifth of our F7 chord F and C, ending by highlighting the root of our F minor 7 chord F and the third of our B flat 7 chord D. Brilliant! Now let's hear the B section harmony and melody on the piano. Cool! And then at this point we repeat the A section, leaving us with just the C section left to learn. Let's start by taking a look at the harmony. Good news! The C section harmony starts the same way as the B section harmony, with a 2-5-1 home to E flat major. F minor 7 is the 2 chord, B flat 7 is the 5 chord, and E flat major 7 is the 1 chord. And then here's where the harmony changes. As we're now moving towards the end of the tune, we need to build momentum towards the end of the form, and this happens through another 1-4-3-6 progression, just like in the A section, but this time each chord lasts for only 2 beats. We're currently on chord 1 E flat major 7, and then move to chord 4 A flat major 7. Next is chord 3 G minor 7, which takes us to chord 6 C minor 7. And then from here it's plain sailing home, with a 2-5-1 back to E flat major. Chord 2 is F minor 7, chord 5 is B flat 7, and chord 1 is E flat major 7. Brilliant! So now let's hear the C section harmony on the piano. Great! And now for the melody. And just like the harmony, it starts the same way as the B section. We start on the ninth of the F minor 7 chord G, which then rises to the flat 7 of the B flat 7 chord A flat, before falling to an E flat and walking through the home key major scale until we reach the third G of our E flat major 7 chord. Then here is where the melody changes, and we have a scale note enclosure around the root E flat, before jumping up to the fifth B flat. The final phrase then starts with another B flat, but an octave lower, before jumping up to the flat 7 of the B flat 7 chord A flat. The melody then ends by walking down in thirds. From the A flat, we fall to the fifth of the B flat 7 chord F, before rising up to the sixth G, ending on the root of our E flat major 7 chord E flat. Cool! So now let's hear the C section harmony and melody on the piano. Great! So that's the foundations of It Could Happen to You. Now we're going to look at a few common substitutions and reharms. Substitution number 1 is in the A section. A common tweak is to replace the passing diminished chords with quick 2-5 cadences. So, rather than the E diminished in the second bar, we instead have a 2-5 cadence that takes us to F minor 7 in bar 3. Given our target point is a minor chord, it's going to be a minor 2-5. F minor 7 is the 1 chord and target point, so this means G half diminished is the 2 chord and C7 flat 9 is the 5 chord. That takes us to F minor 7 as the 1 chord. Next, we can do the same trick in bar 4 and replace our passing diminished chord with another quick minor 2-5. In this case, we're thinking of our E flat major 7 over G as more of a G minor 7 chord. This means A half diminished is the 2 chord and D7 flat 9 is the 5 chord, which takes us to E flat major 7 over G. Great, so now let's hear the A section with these added tweaks. Cool! And now for substitution number 2, which is in the second bar of the B section. A common trick here is to replace the 5 chord B flat 7 with a backdoor 5 chord. A backdoor 5 chord resolves up a tone to the target point, rather than down a fifth like a regular 5 chord. Given our target point is E flat major 7, this means D flat 7 is the backdoor 5 chord, which resolves up a tone and takes us there. It's important to note that the melody still works with our backdoor 5 chord, but it does outline the sharp 11 G, so it's worth putting this in our chord symbol. As the C section starts the same way as the B section, we can also add our backdoor substitution here. So D flat 7 sharp 11 can slot into the second bar. Now, let's hear the B section with our added substitution. Cool! And now for substitution number 3. So far, when dropping in our 1, 4, 3, 6 progressions, we've built each chord using the notes of our key. It's common to tweak some of these chord qualities in these progressions, dependent on the target point and what's happening next. For example, in the second half of the A section, rather than our 3 and 6 chord being G minor 7 and C minor 7, we can instead turn this into a minor 2-5-1, which propels us to the F minor 7 chord at the start of the B section. This means our G minor 7 becomes G half diminished, and our C minor 7 becomes C7 flat 9. Given we've tweaked our 3 chord and 6 chord here, we can also do the same thing in the second A section, as our target point is the same, F minor 7, but this time at the start of the C section. So again, we tweak our G minor 7 chord to G half diminished, and our C minor 7 chord becomes C7 flat 9. The other place we have a 1, 4, 3, 6 progression is in the third and fourth bar of the C section. And again, our target point is the same, the F minor 7 chord in the fifth bar of the C section. So we can tweak our G minor 7 chord to G half diminished, and our C minor 7 chord to C7 flat 9. Creating a minor 2-5-1 to F minor 7. Here's how the C section sounds with our tweaked 1, 4, 3, 6 progressions. Brilliant! So that's the whole tune, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Do like and subscribe below, and check out our website and Patreon page for PDF handouts that accompany all our videos, plus other extras. Happy practicing!